Welcome back to Third Shift Crafts. Today we're making tofu and shrimp hibachi on the Weber Slate griddle, along with cauliflower fried rice, mixed vegetables, and noodles. It's a full hibachi plate right at home. Now this one does take a little bit of prep time, especially with the tofu. I'm not a tofu expert. This is actually one of the first times I've ever tried cooking it, but after doing a little research, I learned the first step is to press the tofu to get the extra water out. So that's what I did. I took the tofu out of the package, wrapped it in cheesecloth, and set it in the sink on a plate with a cast iron pan on top. I let it sit for about 30 minutes. After that, I crumbled it by hand and put it in the Ziploc bag with teriyaki sauce and let it marinate in the fridge for about 6 hours before cooking. Later in the day, it's time to prep the rest of the ingredients. With a griddle, preparation is key. Things move fast once you start cooking. For the cauliflower fried rice, I've got 1 bag of frozen cauliflower rice, 1 bag of frozen peas and carrots, half an onion, and a couple cloves of garlic. On the griddle, I'll also add soy sauce, 2 eggs, butter, and sesame oil. For the vegetables, I'm using zucchini, squash, mushrooms, the other half of that onion, and some garlic. Once they're cooking, I'll hit them with soy sauce, butter, and a little oil. For the noodles, I'm experimenting. I've boiled a couple packs of ramen noodles. Once they're on the griddle, I'll toss them with butter, salt, pepper, garlic powder, sesame oil, and soy sauce. In hindsight, I think next time I'll cook the noodles earlier, coat them with oil, and chill them in the fridge first just to see if that helps the texture. And of course, we've got the shrimp. They'll go on last since they cook quickly. Now let's head outside and get the Weber Slate started. I always clean it at the end of a cook, but I like to give it a quick re-clean before I start. So I'll let it heat up, splash some water, scrape it down, and then coat it with avocado oil. All burners are set to medium for now, and I'll adjust as I go. Just remember, once the griddle gets hot, it takes time to cool down, so keep an eye on it. I'm starting with the cauliflower rice. Everything I prepped goes onto the griddle. I'll let it cook down until most of the water from the frozen veggies is gone. Then I'll push it aside, scramble 2 eggs, and mix everything together. At this point, I'll add butter and soy sauce, just enough to get the color and flavor I want. And once it's ready, I'll move the rice over to the right side of the griddle, turn that burner to low, and flip it occasionally so it doesn't get too crispy. That way it stays warm while I finish everything else. While the rice is cooking, I'll also start the tofu. Like I said, this is new for me. It was actually a Costco find. I put some oil down, kept it on medium heat in the top left corner, and give it a toss every so often. At the end, I'll add more teriyaki sauce and a little bit of butter. For the vegetables, I spread some oil in the center of the griddle and lay them out. I let them cook down, sometimes adding a splash of water to help steam them. Once they're close to the texture we like, I'll toss them with soy sauce and butter. You can also use teriyaki sauce here, but soy sauce works just fine. To make room for the noodles, I'll pull the fried rice off and bring it inside. Then I'll move the veggies to the right side. Now it's time for the noodles. Like I mentioned, this is an experiment. They did stick to the griddle a bit. Maybe the griddle was too hot, maybe they needed more oil, or maybe I should have chilled them beforehand. But I'm rolling with it. And now I'll go ahead and throw on the shrimp. These cook fast. Just a little oil, butter, and soy sauce is all they need. Once everything's done and off the griddle, it's time to clean. Hibachi cooks can be a little tougher because of the sugars in the teriyaki sauce. Here's what I do. I turn the burners to low and let it sit for a couple minutes, usually just enough time to bring the food inside. Then I splash water on the surface and scrape toward the grease pan. Sometimes it takes a couple rounds. I'll also use a paper towel with the scraper to help pick up any residue. Once it's clean, I'll coat the griddle with a thin layer of oil, splash a little water, to pick up anything sticky, and finish with one last thin coat of oil. I'll leave the lid open until it cools, and then give it a final coat of oil before closing it up. That way it's ready for the next cook. Back inside, here's the final plate. Yes, I added some yum yum sauce on top. The final verdict, The tofu wasn't bad, and it really didn't taste like much except the sauce, but it worked. The shrimp, veggies, and rice came out great as usual, and the noodles weren't bad either. Overall, I'd call this one a successful cook. Thanks for watching Third Shift Crafts. If you enjoyed this hibachi experiment, be sure to like, subscribe, and stick around for more wood, fire, wine, and life. Until next time.